Yeah, maybe we can say your favorite team, Gugun. Maybe he feels some jitters.
We don't talk about
Okay,
that.
we don't talk
that
again.
was a low blow.
Get counter to turn that.
I was gonna say something, but I don't think I can do it to Coach Aldo. I like him too much.
Y'all talking about Liquid, right?
No, I'm
Aura,
talking
right?
about Alter Ego that
What? Okay. Let's stop this, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2, drafts. It's getting spicy here, but it's even getting spicier now in the draft because Evos have decided to stay on blue despite the loss on blue in game 1. They still enjoy that whole idea that they can force the Harriet, right, to be banned away from them. And there's going to be the Moskov here, still respected from Rand. We've seen that for Rand,
there are no
he's been like one of the top members, especially when the game goes all the way to the late game, and he's on a hero, they can still do a lot of damage in the early game, mid game, but also carry that late game. The Moskov really seems to be something they can use the best. So without that, again, now, what will he find as a substitute?
these are exactly the same bands.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Do you think that Evos will go for a different route?
I would understand if they want to pick up the Valentina, then just make some adjustments. Have a gold laner that will scale a little bit later into the late game. Because again, it wasn't like a big out draft. Evos could have taken control of the game and then ran away with it, but Onyx just played better.
I agree, because I feel like if you're on the Evo side, you know how to make the second game better with the same draft, because you know what mistakes that you do in the first game. Like maybe don't overcommit on Sans, and maybe we should pressure CW more. Maybe we're looking at the same draft, but look at Onyx. They're changing some things.
And I like this because it's Fnatic Onyx now telling Evos, we're forcing you to change up. We changed ourselves. We're the one dictating the tempo of this change.
It's kind of scary when you see Onyx on a aggressive early game composition. We talked about how CW used to be so passive, and now he has that aggressive spirit in him. But the fact that there's so much similarities in the banning phase, Coach Aldo, you think this is like looking at drafts earlier, and we said that Evos have a tendency to go ego draft.
Yeah, look at here. It's kind of an ego draft. It's Terizla Nolan. It's like saying, I'm gonna pick my strongest hero for this game, and yeah, you want to go early game, we can go early game too with Terizla and Nolan.
This is how that plays out then, because look, Nolan is great, but against a team that knows how to target, that knows how to ration their card control, it can be quite difficult to be maneuvering around.
Yeah, and if ever Fnatic Onyx beats this Nolan, it's going to be the first stain on the record of Evos' Nolan. Currently 5-0 is Annabelle for that hero. So if this is a loss, then you're going to be heading into game number 3. It's going to be a test of your mental. It's like you're undefeated pick heading into the grand finals, loses in game 2. So Evos, I expect their last 2 picks to complement this Nolan well and help this Nolan well.
Let's go.
But it's suddenly, all right, you want to go assassin? Kari gets his Fanny.
Ego what?
Fanny.
Ego what?
In the second game of the series, you mentioned, Coach Aldo, that you thought that the Fredrin pick in the first game might have been a bait, and now we see the Fanny.
Yeah, because Evos is playing assassin, so Onyx said, if you want to assassin versus assassins against us, so be it. We'll take it. Maybe if it's 7 games, assassin versus assassin, we'll take it because we are the better team as an assassin.
But how does this Nolan perform against the Fanny, who has more prio?
For clearing speed, for farming speed, I think Nolan has the upper hand. But during skirmishes, during pickoffs, Fanny have the upper hand. But let's see. But I think in assassin matchup, it's not about just the assassins, but also the other 4 teams, 4 players that need to play with the assassins.
Yeah, and Coach Aldo was telling me about this backstage earlier during the gala. We actually had to got a chance to chat about it. And now looking at it, the Farsa and the Roger together paired up with the Fanny. When you think about it, it's not necessarily like 5v5, oh, this. It's the Roger and Farsa are 2 heroes that can do stuff on their own to set it up for the Fanny. Sand sees someone, burst them down, suddenly Kyrie comes in. Chewet's just going to be clawing and scratching. Getting 1v1s, getting someone low, then Kyrie flies in. So I agree with your point there, Coach Aldo.
And that's what I like also about this draft, is because the Fanny can also come in first, and then the Roger can clean up. So it's a flexible. I think Onyx know like how their win counts, and they will adapt in game for sure.
I think flexibility, that is just one of the biggest strengths of Onyx. You see this composition, and usually you can kind of get an idea, right? Okay, usually Sans will be the aggressor, he'll start with the better airstrike, and then the team can try and clean up. But with Onyx, you wouldn't be too surprised to even see them start off the fight with the Fanny, with the Roger, and then let Sans become the cleanup crew with that credit airstrike.
Yeah, and exactly. That's why I like this Talisman by Evos, because they're taking away more heroes that are strong in 1v1s, are strong in handling stuff alone. So they even took out the CZ, and now of course I'll force out the Edith. Roam or EXP though, I'm not quite sure.
We have a fun fact here for all regions. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, as a little bit of an intermezzo, Matilda is the hero with the highest pick and ban rate during the regular season of MPL PH, MPL MY, and MPL ID Season 13 and NACT Spring 2024. But funnily enough, we don't see a Matilda at all right now, and even from the first game.
It is very interesting that the priority of Matilda has disappeared. Evos now with Ruby and Carry, so if the lineup of Fnatic Onyx are strong as individuals and can set each other up that way, Evos very strong with the team fighting.
I think the Edith pick is gonna be still a flex pick because I think Coach Shep wants a good matchup for Keyboy in the roaming position. But I can see the Edith being put in the roaming position because Edith and Ruby, Edith have the upper hand for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we can see a good XP lane for Lutfi. Maybe still the Paquito, I'm not sure, but maybe also the Cho for the aggressive pick in the roamer position.
Oh, Cho in the XP.
So Edith, Lutfi, Cho, Keyboard?
Yeah, something like, or even a Barrett, yeah, for sure.
Never mind.
Yeah.
All right. We're talking a lot about having good balance in the composition here on the English desk. How if you have one hero that can be a great crowd control tool, the other needs to be a solid front line that can take some damage. So how do you feel about the situation here? Terizla Ruby combo compared to the Barad's Edith?
I think whoever can CC the jungler, the assassins, wins this game for sure. Like whoever have the Barats and the Edith and also the Ruben and Terizla who is more sharp will win the objective fight, and it will lead to the snowball for the Nolan or the Fanny in this game.
Yeah, and it also looks like a tough decision for Clockern. Which ultimate are you going to get for the Valentina? There's some strong ultimates on the side of Onyx that will really round out the team fighting of Evos Glory.
Evos Glory now lead. Not lead.
Trail.
They're trailing the series, ladies and gentlemen. If they want to continue forward, if they want a fighting chance, they need to be able to get this win in the second game of the series. Welcome back to the Land of Dawn for game number 2 for Evos Glory and Fnatic Onyx.
Welcome to Mobile Legends. I just have to say that Edith Flex was just beautiful, right? Because it was Flex, it technically gave the opportunity to go for a great pick for either the roam, either double down like the Cho. We saw the Cho in the XP yesterday. By Luke, also up against the Nolan. You want to try to lock him down, like Aldo said. But Emblems, let's get a quick glance.
Well, it's all the lethal ignitions for the side of Fnatic Onyx. They have a lot of burst damage, and that extra bit sometimes will be enough to seal the deal. Keyboy, though, with the Quantum Charge, wants to try and have some more maneuverability and, of course, sustainability when he's just moving around, going for these small skirmishes. The big concern I have right here, especially for Onyx, is the fact that they do have the Edith, but they can give the Primal Wrath into the hands of Clockun on the Valentina. And that way, they'll get one more massive tool of DPS. And usually, when you're fighting against DPS, against a team with a Terizla, it's going to be difficult to try and contest the burst. Now with a Terizla and a carry, in theory, on paper, Evil shouldn't really lose out when it comes to a front-to-front clash.
There's a lot of confidence, I believe, seeping out from Sans, going in for the Purify against Fluffy's power pick. Oh, that's a lot of damage already placed from Kyrie in the early game. Wait a minute.
Fracture Annabelle! First blood! Waiting for the energy to be used up and then punishing.
Whew. Out of nowhere, Annabelle reading out the maneuvers, reading out the movements. Just like that, small win. And in an assassin matchup, that could be deadly. Oh, mid lane though.
Earth Shatter, and then onward just used to gap close a little bit. Dreams though, still holding on to that flicker.
Wow. It's a little similar to game number 1, right? That counter-aggression play coming through, and Evos were able to get the better out of that exchange. But the question is, what about the setup? Fluffy at level 4 already. can utilize this penalty zone to get a little bit of a grasp on this neutral objective, but we'll see.
Lots able to find a death as well. Come on, one. That's a penalty zone. Sans flickers into it, but Annabelle gets slain by Sans, who's still able to dish out some damage. Keyboy is the one who picks up the turtle. Clockwood stole the Primal Wrath away, but look at Fluffy, who's isolated. Keyboy flickers forward. Earth Shatter to take him down, immobilize as well. Onto Dreams, and Keyboy wants to continue this chase, but gets shooed away by Clockwood.
That was essentially a 2-4-0 trade made in by Fnatic Onyx as they were able to pick up the objective and that kill over. And that was the curious thing, right? With the fact that Fluffy was able to utilize it, but there was no follow-up with the penalty zone that he popped up in that final moment to cancel the Feather Airstrike. Arashi, what happened there?
I think it's just unfortunate for Evos. In theory, right, the Terizla should be a direct counter to the Farsa, but now Keyboy getting jumped on.
The Fracture as well used up. Keyboy still trying to walk away, and Clockwood finds one last basic attack to finally take Keyboy down.
As I was saying though, there's burst damage available for sure, and usually when a Terizla gets onto you, there's not much you can do, but now Terizla...
Now into the cable, the penalty zone defensively used up, but then Lippy stomps on his head as he's unconscious.
Arashi, I'm sorry, my guy. I keep throwing it over to you, but every time you begin, you get interrupted, so please continue.
No, we will only accept the sorry from Fnatic Onyx.
That's true.
Yeah, they don't owe me an apology, man. Every single time I start a chain of thought, it can never finish. But then again, this is the grand finals, and both these teams, again, when they do see an opportunity, they always want to play for this high-tempo style. I think Evos have their eyes on Sans, though. Will Keyboy sniff this out? All right. Going to be a slow situation for now, yet again. Always seems to revolve around the neutral objectives. Especially with the Assassins though, I expected a lot more ganks, a lot more burst attempts on the side laners. Especially now that Brands is on the carry. He has the tenacity and the firmness, so he's a lot tankier than CW, who went for the Master Assassin. He wants to make sure that he has dominance in this lane that will allow all these high maneuver tools from Fnatic Onyx to be funneled somewhere else. Perhaps to Lutpi, for him to be then the main frontline. They can just go for these defense welcomes, and if he lands on Annabelle, it's a done deal like we saw in the previous fight.
Out of the Primal Pendant Fracture as well. Keyboy not able to pop in the Primal Wrap, but Kyrie has rejoined the team fight. As Fluffy gets one kill, Annabelle still on the turtle, able to secure it. Backs away instantly. Meanwhile, Fluffy still trying to zone Sans. Annabelle looking for an angle. Jetson is welcome, going to be used up only towards the back. But Lippy, what happened to his HP bar? The Dino getting melted. Kyrie looking for a trade back, goes on to Annabelle. Woo, but is forced back.
That's Lupi taken down, and the fact is, that's a trade back in.
Ooh.
Oh.
Fluffy continues this. Kyrie's got to be careful. Spaces out very, very well. And in the bottom lane, it seems Dreams has been shoot away. Feather Airstrike flicker, Sans! But Dreams gets out too with his own flicker. Look at Keyboy walking around, canceling that recall. Now trying to sandwich them, conceal. They cancel their recalls, but it was all just a bait. Keyboy has delayed them, and he might just delay it again. Primal Wrath thrown away. Keyboy still trying to find this angle. Fluffy in the back goes into the penalty zone, locks Keyboy down with an Earth Shatter, used up the Primal Wrath and the flicker out. Fnatic Onyx have outplayed Evo's glory in his bottom lane. That's another miss on a pull. Fluffy back, one more shot to do it, and Keyboy is still melting Clockwood 4 members who are now forced to run away. And now, the airstrike cancelled it. Kai assassinates Brand. CW with a Lycan pounce takes Clockwood. Dreams the push, the pace. Fnatic Onyx, it's all on them.
The defending champions in minute number 6, they bare their teeth and they show the White Tigers what claws are really made of. A 3-4-0 trade. Meanwhile, Annabelle going to be able to get a trade in for that tower in the top side. But despite everything, it's nowhere near as dominant as what Fnatic Onyx are showing to us as we take a look at the items.
CW going with the Windtalker. Gonna go for more basic attacks for later on, but Brands, he recognizes the need for extra physical defense already with the Steel Liquid, but it doesn't matter if the fights kind of play out like this. Now with Onyx controlling, he goes for Keyboy.
Only Earth Shatter connects onto 2. Fluffy goes in for the penalty zone. That's a retreat from Annabelle. A retreat and a run. Dream's gonna be melted down. Fluffy's next on the chopping block as Fnatic Onyx pop that, conceal it, go and chase. CW has a Lycan form. Kyrie goes in for the cutthroat, and it's Sans who executes them. Fluffy and Dreams traded for the turtle. Fnatic Onyx want to get more. The purple buff is what they set their sights on. Keyboy predicts the dash of Annabelle, and CW goes in for the light can pounce. My goodness!
Dominance, brilliance, intelligence, whatever the source given. Not really sure which one you would like to use here, but what? Dreams? Okay, they don't find the kill. But that was a 3-4-0 trade again for Fnatic Onic. And it's just such a shame for Annabelle, because up until this point, he's always been able to farm so much quicker. He was a level ahead at some point. Now Kyrie's caught up, but he had more of a say in these neutral objectives, but it really doesn't matter. He gets the objectives, but look at how Fnatic Onic traded back.
He was still hanging on to the gold advantage earlier, right before the whole sequence of events, even with the neutral objective. But just like that, Keyboy, man, earlier, the threat to stop the recalls on the bottom side, to buy time for Kyrie to come in and clean up. And even there, the prediction to think that Annabelle was going to try and make a play to secure his buff. This man is an absolute menace, and this just locks down Annabelle. Now, whenever he's trying to make a play, he's going to always be worrying about, where's Keyboy? What's Keyboy doing? And that few seconds of hesitation can be deadly in a game of this magnitude.
The mind games. The mind games, and now the damage that Sans has built for himself. That burst damage that comes out before they even go in for these team fights, they have been detrimental. Now he's holding 3 items, if I'm not mistaken.
DS2 W here. Now they're looking for the purple buff again. Another airstrike onto the back of Flicker as well. Clock could be the additional. He's forced to pop the Primal Wrath just to survive.
Great play by Clocken, but in the end, that's still a defensive play. Despite all the aggressive tools Evos has, Fnatic Onic are making sure that everything needs to be popped defensively. Fluffy with the Athenas, though, will be able to walk up earlier. In the previous game, he ignored the magical defense, not really caring about Sans' damage. Now it's a different story with Keyboy on the Edith. The Primal Wrath basic attacks will be something that he has to contend with if he wants to be the main frontline, to buy some time for Brands to be able to just shred someone down.
Yeah, you can't underestimate Gila Sans. There's Gila in front of his name for a reason, right? And even Clocken is now feeling that pressure. The fact that he now has to find yet another ultimate, find and close that gap, that's a big risk because of that trigger with the IMU. And if that happens, that actually can be a loophole utilized by Fnatic Onic to go in for that pickup before they go in for this neutral objective take. And by the way, Annabelle had a level lead above of Kyrie. Now it's completely swapped. Kyrie level 14, Annabelle level 13.
Oh, the missiles catches on Fluffy. That's welcome straight into the feather airstrike and the Earth Shadow. Fluffy cannot walk. He cannot do anything. A Purify from CW is now going to be Kyrie, who jumps in with a cutthroat onto Annabelle, who's still able to dash away, but Kyrie continues his onslaught of damage onto Clocken, who's forced to use the Primal Wrath to escape. 1-for-1 XP for XP.
Did I see Kyrie cut through the Lord in the middle of that fight? It seemed like he moved in the direction of the Lord for ever so slightly in that fight instead of going for the big kills. Brands though!
Uh-oh!
The airstrike. This time Sans doesn't have the flicker, so Brands can just walk out of it.
8 more seconds before that happened. But yes, in that fight, Ludwig here taking a page out of Geek Fam's book. We thought the Cho was what he was going to use in this fight against Annabelle on the Nolan, but no, he went with the Barats, and he was able to get a big pick off there. And being the main engage tool, he's a lot more impactful here compared to Fluffy, who in theory can do a lot of work with the penalty zone, showing again the potential of this Barats in the EXP lane.
Yeah, you think that the Barat is more of a passive hero, right? You just want to tank up the damage, you just want to soak in the damage. And these pilots, they say otherwise.
Another onward, and it baits out the flicker. The main initiation tool of Evil's Glory has just been baited out.
Just like that, it's a slow game as Kyrie zooming around. Even in the macro department, for the most part, the waves are so easily controlled because this is the big benefit for the Fanny. There's a lot more mobility, whereas Annabelle, his benefit is the faster damage output, the faster burst damage that can be followed up on crowd control. But right now, he has to wait for Dreams to try and do something, and Dreams can't really find a way to get to the squishier members that can be one-shot. Dreams will be looking for someone like Keyboy, someone like Lutpi, So he's kind of locked in here. Annabelle not really having some targets and not really having any avenues to even go for a flank to try and find Sans or CW.
Again, those missiles is able to bring Fluffy in. Penalty zone cancelled out. Kyrie picks up the Lord. And Fnatic Onic, they just use that conceal as a feint.
And right now, Sans has picked up the Winter Truncheon as well. Even more safety, even more security for him. As we said, like earlier, there's going to be more damage output coming in from Evos, but with Keyboy on the Edith, it might just even out. If he goes for the Winter, I don't think there's any chance for Evos to really stand there and tank damage waiting for it to actually expire. Looking at the rest of the items though, Kyrie with the BOD, with the Malefic Roar, he even went with the Dread and Armor just in case, right? For the potential 1v1 scenario. But with that kind of mobility, with how he's been playing it, if he doesn't feel like he can win the 1v1, he just walks away. No problem at all.
As a mid laner, anyone with their right mind would go for Purify against Fluffy's Terizla, right? But not Sans. And the fact that he didn't go for Purify, the fact that he went for Flicker instead, that early Winter Truncheon does make sense because most of the time he's using this Flicker as well to gain an advantage, to gain and close that gap when he pops in that Feather Airstrike. And if he goes in for something like the Purify, honestly, it takes away from his edge. It takes away from his aggression, so it really does make sense. But now, ladies and gentlemen, most of these turrets have fallen. Kyrie already trying to go for the baits.
Oh, gets baited in by Brands though, and will have to be punished. A very rare mistake, but it happened.
That was looking so good for just a bit. But Brands there, even before the Wind of Nature, was able to actually get that kill. That was unfortunate for Fnatic Onic, but for the most part, they still have that control. And now they gotta be a bit more careful. This is where Evos is at their comfort zone, this late game discipline style, with Brands having a lot of damage, a lot of save.
And I'm offended into the Dancer's block, penalty zone into the backline, but it doesn't find Sans. His Keyboy does the same thing in the back, but it's gonna be a Purify from Brands. Primal Rod to escape, look, he loses his life. CW with the Lycan Pounce, able to get 2 immortalities, but now it's Clocker with a Primal Rod. Sans, Winter Truncheon into the Fracture doesn't have the Flicker, he's gonna be slayed by Clocker and Keyboy with immortality. Kyrie no purple, but Lycan Pounce! But Calvin Winata! And somehow, someway, they won that fight!
They made it a 3-for-2 trade. They made it a 3-for-2 trade. CW gonna have the space, gonna be able to take this purple buff away from Annabelle, and what looked like disaster for the defending champions has ultimately been turned around by CW, Mr. Constantly Winning.
And even by Kyrie, just came out of nowhere when Evos thought that he was out of the equation. Now he's going back at it again. That's a lot of damage from Brands though. Fortunately for Brands, he was actually able to stay alive in that fight, even though he and CW were kind of eyeing each other out at the end of it. Now with 8 seconds to go, Evos has yet another chance to try and go for it. Can they do so though with a 6k gold deficit?
Let's circle back on CW though, right? 4-0-5 so far on a Roger that notoriously is very reliant on the snowball, right? Would you consider Fnatic on the snowball? How far is the items looking for CW?
CW at this point is at a full inventory slot if you consider the boot as well. He has the Rose Gold even, so he can just go in aggressively, especially with the Roger, right? A lot tankier right now. Keyboy being the gatekeeper here, is waiting for a chance, waiting for an opportunity. And this is the problem, especially for Evos. They can't really go and shut and deny and burst someone down immediately. Their card control tools don't last that long. And at this point, Keyboy and Ludpi are just a bit too tanky.
Look at that. The conceal play by Evos Glory. But Fnatic Onic know how to play this macro. They play it slow.
It looks like Kyrie gonna utilize his high mobility on Fanny to be able to create a push in the top lane. Trying to force, oh, wait a minute.
Keyboy on our Shanner. Not gonna fully commit on that. Fluffy might just be assassinated, losing the HP bar down to a 4. Death as well can be committed. He's still picking and choosing who he wants to go for. He doesn't decide to go for it, and the Feather Airstrike gets used up to shoo Evos Glory away from this mid lane.
That's a big resource spent out. Fnatic Onic, they definitely want to go for a reset here without the Feather Airstrike as well as Ludpi's ultimate. And you can see that with Kyrie constantly pushing in the top lane, they have actually forced Annabelle to deal with it. So both teams have their reasons to go in for the reset.
Surprising though, seeing that Fluffy was so far away from his teams that Fnatic Onic with their DPS output won't go for something, but CW, fortunately, wasn't really spotted right there, so there won't be big play from Evos to secure him. On the other hand, look at Sans. Is he waiting for Annabelle to try and go for a purple buff?
Gila Sans. What is he thinking here?
It seems to be a possibility, but now he'll be backing away, going back to the Lord with the wave pushing on the top side. This is their chance. This is their moment. Once again, the patience games continue. Whereas for Fnatic Onyx and Evos, they've both shown that they don't really panic and make a crazy move unnecessarily in these situations.
Blanco, no purifying. Keyboy goes in for the on-brand, the Earth Shadow, but look at Brands' damage. Was able to melt one down. Keyboy forced to use the Primal Wrath, loses immortality. Lippy has immortality as well. Keyboy able to flicker around and pops to conceal to disengage, but they leave Lippy all alone, isolated, and Evil's Glory capitalized. Now on the Lord they go. Enhanced. 17 minutes in. Fnatic Onyx don't want no business. Not against this Evil's Glory lineup in the 18th minute.
That's a man advantage, and that's a neutral objective completely given to Evos on a silver platter. Kyrie. Okay. He gets out there.
Okay, dude, we get it.
We get it. You're good on assassins, man.
I mean, we don't talk about what happened in the top lane.
What happened in top lane?
Nothing.
Happened. Well, for Evos right now, though, they are certainly trying to make something happen. Look at the bottom side. Kyrie is going for a push. CW adjusting his build to try and get a bit more DPS, a bit more clear. Against a full item carry, they seem to be struggling. But by the way, I believe Kyrie once again cut short of the Lord in that fight, though. That's a massive, valuable chunk of damage for Fnatic Onyx. With the Lord coming in, they do have tools to clear, but they have to be careful, especially Sans, for a play from Evos to try and shut him down.
Yeah.
And no purple buff now.
But remember, Sans just picks up the Holy Crystal, so that damage is flowing.
Now with the Lord up top. Oh! It's a good eye offended, pulling Lippy back, but he has a flicker to escape. Keyboy now holding it down. Kyrie goes up the cut throw, does some damage. CW forced back, and Rose Gold Unit gets popped in as Kyrie goes over the blade once again onto Brands. He's still able to survive. Now Sans doing some damage back. Oh, what happened to Glockman? He got the smallest. Kai in the back with the cables once again. CW goes with the re-engage. He wants to go for the triple kill, and he gets it. Calvin Winata again and again and again.
Constantly winning. Winata, CW, what in the world? Time and time again, he is breaking boundaries. He is breaking limits, and he is breaking bones of Evo's Glory. 4 members are down. Annabelle, the only one up. There aren't necessarily minions for them to play with. But what a play from Fnatic Onyx. Like, CW, that's tough enough. But with Kyrie's damage with them as well, are they going to go for the end?
I don't know. Dashing out. Oh, Keyboy! What was that? An onward up angle.
1 minion. They utilized 1 minion. The side lanes weren't even pushed. They didn't even need it. Fnatic Onyx again and again and again. It's a 2-0. Now for the defending champions, the Sky Kings.